Hey, welcome to the Raising Mothers podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Kahn. I'm a wife, mama to two, and a certified conscious parent coach practitioner. It is my mission to raise mothers to transform their mind, soul, and family. Sis, you are not here by accident. If you are here, it means you're ready to heal inner wounds, detach from deeply rooted thoughts and beliefs, recognize the root beneath behaviors, deeply connect with your child, love the child in front of you, become the mother you dream of, the mother you were created to be, and the mother your children need. Let's get started. I am so excited today because today we have a special guest and a dear friend of mine. Her name is Meg O'Keeffe. She is the founder of Heart-Centered Parenting, is a Montessori teacher and trainer with over 30 years of teaching experience, is also a conscious parent coach certified by Dr. Shefali, and is my personal coach. She is a wealth of knowledge, has so much wisdom, and I am so excited to share her with you guys today as we talk about characteristics and habits confident children embody. Today is episode number 15 of a 20 episode series, and today we are focusing on the I in confidence, which stands for Identifies their needs. Welcome, Meg.
Hi, Ashley. Hi, everyone. It's so great to be here and to be with you always, Ashley. You are an embodiment as well, a confident parent, a conscious parent. And it's just such a pleasure to be here and to talk about this such important topic of what a confident child embodies, because a confident child embodies what the parent also mirrors to them, right? So this is such an exciting topic. So thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. And yes, you hit the nail on the head. Confident children embody what is not necessarily taught is caught. How we, the parents, model this confidence is so important in unconscious messages that get sent to our children. And in today's topic, identifying their needs and how confident children do that, I think is huge, because all too often as parents, we don't identify our needs either. So this applies both to the parent as well as the child. Meg, what comes up for you when you think about confident children being able to identify their needs and why it's important?
I love that. Okay, thanks for asking, Ash. Well, I do think that a confident child does identify their needs because they know if a boundary needs to be set or not, right? Mm-hmm. So their parent has helped them to understand maybe what a boundary is by giving them the life-affirming boundaries that they need so that they can discern whether they need a boundary or not, right? So I know that as a child myself, I did not understand how to set a boundary, that I even needed boundaries for myself to set boundaries with others. Yes. So I think that that is a very valuable tool for children to understand and to know is what do I need, right? What are the boundaries that I can set, or what do I even need to set a boundary?
Absolutely. And how would you say, or what comes to mind for you, like how to recognize that some need is being unmet? What comes up for you?
Right, for the child, the needs that need to be met are always about, are they hungry? Am I hungry right now? Is that why this is coming up for me? Am I tired? Is there something that my body needs that is causing me to feel, a need coming up? There's also other needs that need to be met that we that we don't even know sometimes, that we're, like you said, that we're not aware of.
Yes. And the word awareness, I think, is huge. So, kids in their day to day, they've got a lot going on, right? From the moment they wake up to the moment they go to bed, they're, getting ready for school, going to school. So much life happens when they get to school. They come home, maybe have a snack, do homework, go to sports, whatever it is. These kids are busy. And all too often, culture kind of gets us into this pattern and habit of be constantly being on the go that we become so disconnected to our needs and ourselves that we have emotional reactions or get frustrated, irritated, upset, angry, whatever the emotion is. And we don't even recognize that it's somehow connected. And usually it's always connected to some unmet need. So, what confident children do is when they have these big emotional reactions or they're frustrated, irritated, whatever it is, they can use that as a signal to like stop and pause and like ask themselves, what's going on here? What needs need to be met? Do I, I was really frustrated when I was talking to my friend. Why was I so frustrated? Maybe I need to set a boundary with that friend. Or, I get home from school and my mom asks me a question and it makes me so angry. Why am I angry? Am I hungry? Maybe I'm just really tired and need to take a rest. So, really helping our kids identify their needs really helps them thrive in life and become an emotionally healthy child. And does this happen overnight? No, it's
Yeah.
a process. And that just goes back to, it's through consistency and rewiring, meaning recognizing what our needs are instead of just going on autopilot and reacting to everything takes time. And it also takes a parent who models the
Yeah.
same, so that in a sense, it becomes a new normal, I guess.
Exactly. You couldn't have said that any better. I think that parents being modeling is the key, right? And not just modeling, but having enough emotional awareness of their own needs, like you talked about, and helping the child identify those needs, because sometimes the child doesn't realize or recognize what their need is, that they're overtired, that they're overstimulated, that sometimes a child can be behaviorally acting out, and a parent has to identify and stay calm and centered within themselves, so that even though the child is exhibiting some behaviors that might not be what the parent is liking, we have to not take it personally and disconnect from our ideas that this is good or bad behavior, because
Right.
we oftentimes label this is bad, this is good, so
Mhm.
that the child can have the room and the space to have the awareness. So we need to normalize, we need to validate and normalize the child, ups and downs. There is so much happening in life, Ashley. It's
Mhm.
we're asking our children to do so much more than even we were doing when we were kids. And our culture's achievement orientated focus is part of that. And,
Mhm.
I just coached a family who has that same thing where they didn't understand why their child was acting out. And then when we deconstructed what their day was like, what the routine and the rhythm was like, it became very clear that the
Mhm.
child had needs that were not even being seen by the parent or the child.
Yes.
So it's so powerful when we can slow down and calm down
Mhm.
ourselves, our own regulate our own nervous system, so that we can be fully present for the child. And then we can talk about what needs even are, and how to recognize them when they come up. And so, because we know it in ourselves, and
Yes.
then we can help them to understand it in themselves.
I love that, Meg. And I love how, what I hear you saying is in order for, a child to be confident and identify their needs, the parent really needs to cultivate the environment for them to be free to do so. And I love how you were saying, us not taking it personal.
Yes, they
Uh,
need to feel safe to be themselves and to experience the whole range of emotions that
mhm.
comes with being a human. We are very focused on happiness and everything going easy, and life being good, which is a byproduct of
Yeah.
going through all those emotions, right? Experiencing things that aren't pleasant, and not rescuing them from those unpleasant feelings and experiences, and allowing them to feel them, and deconstruct them, so that they can understand themselves at a deeper level.
Absolutely.
I know children can do this. I've seen it happen throughout my career. Um, like you said, with the right environment. And in the environment, who has the key role in the environment? It's us. We
Yes,
are the key component of the environment for the child, as
absolutely.
well as everything else, of course, but we are the one that can help them the most. Adult self-awareness and emotional maturity is really the key component to raising a confident child.
Absolutely. Meg, you have so many years of experience in the Montessori environment. So you have worked, hands on with kids for a very, very long time. As older kids with a parent, cultivating confidence and identifying their needs, you can kind of verbally walk them and guide them, right, to help them identify their needs. For the parents with younger kids, what would you say is very helpful to kind of start guiding from a young age for kids to start recognizing their needs? Because the earlier the better, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And children don't have the language to describe what they need, right? Especially the young child.
Mhm.
So you're right in saying it's about the environment. Starting from the very get-go, right?
Mhm.
The moment the child comes into your life, that child needs to be accepted for who they are right then and there. And oftentimes parents have this fantasy of what their child's going to be like.
Yes.
And suddenly we're given a child that doesn't meet those, ideals that we had in our mind. So that can start things out on a rough foot. I've had new parents who have really had that moment where they're like, this is not what I ordered up. This isn't how I thought it was going to go.
Yeah.
Parenting is so much different than I thought. So all of that can influence that feeling for the child that they're not accepted for who they are, they don't belong, they're not loved. All of those are patterns that develop in a child when the
Yes.
parent is not aware of what's happening with themselves, right? I know that happened for me when I was a child,
Mhm.
and I saw that in my children in my classroom and at my school that I owned. So I think the best thing is for me was always checking in with myself first before I interacted with the child. Of course, if there's safety involved, there was always, an immediate response. But
Mhm.
just a quick check-in with myself, checking in with my body,
Mhm.
noticing what I was experiencing before could help the child was the biggest thing that helped me to stay regulated while I was interacting with the child.
Mhm.
Children have big feelings. And what does that bring up in the adult? Oh my gosh, fear,
Yeah.
right? Holy cow, out of control. This feels so big and I don't know what to do, right? Oftentimes parents just go to that default, like they're overwhelmed,
Yeah.
they're uncomfortable. So that message is given to the child that it's not okay to feel what you feel.
Mhm.
And so they lose that connection, like you said, with
Yes.
understanding and identifying their needs.
Absolutely. And something that, as you were talking, I was thinking of for younger children to kind of cultivate this process for them to identify their needs whenever they have, a big emotional reaction or they're frustrated or angry. A parent from a very young, for children at a very young age, the parent can kind of guide them to identify their needs by, going to them and saying, I see you're frustrated. Let's just take a deep breath, right?
Yes.
And really teaching them how to start implementing the pause. Rather, they might not know what the pause is. So let's just take a deep breath. Can you just breathe with me for three? Let's take three deep breaths. And then after, ask the child, how are you feeling? What, and asking them questions, being curious. And that will kind of help guide them down the path to start recognizing, like, I was angry and maybe this is why. And what is it that I need? Do I, maybe they're playing with a friend and their friend took their toy and they got mad. Very normal reaction, right? Especially at that age. But in that moment, you can use that incident as an opportunity to help guide your child to see what is it they're needing. Is that their favorite toy? Is this an opportunity where we can, say, I want to play with this toy right now, but you can play with these ones. So there's always situations like that, even from a young age, where you can really start to guide and nurture the process of the child being able to identify their needs. Because at the end of the day, if we're able to identify our needs, set boundaries, we're going to have really healthy relationship with ourselves, which will mean we'll have a healthy relationship with others as well.
Exactly. I love that. I love how you put that because, we in the Montessori environment helped the child learn choice, right?
Mhm,
We
mhm.
guided them to identify their needs, like you're saying,
Yes.
and help them to cultivate words to describe what they were
Mhm.
feeling, and guiding them, like you're saying. But giving them the choice, like, do you feel like might be frustrated or are you angry?
Yes.
And helping them to know what does it mean? What does
Yes.
frustration feel like? What does frustration look like? And staying connected to that sensation in our body can be interpreted in different ways, and so can the feelings. I can feel frustrated in my body one way, and you could feel it in another way.
Right.
So keeping that open for the child to have all those feelings, and then you're like you said, guiding them. Do you need this? Do you need that? And sometimes they need to set a boundary, like you're saying,
Mhm.
with another child. The
Yeah.
one thing I do want to say as a caveat is I oftentimes would, like you're saying, the child would take away the toy from the other child, and then the big emotion would come. But it's so incredibly amazing how children can repair and move on
Yes.
much more quickly than us adults can.
Absolutely.
Oftentimes, we would be the ones worried about, can these two children even play together or whatever. They
Mhm.
have totally, felt their feelings. This
Yes.
is the biggest thing. Or we allowed them to feel their feelings with our containment and our connection,
Mhm.
and then they could move through their feelings
Right.
and get to a point where they could just release it and move on. And I saw this over and over, and I think that is what the young child has taught me the most is we hold on to things. So that was just one caveat I wanted to add to
Yes.
your.
I love that. That is so, so important. Thank you for mentioning that. What I also hear you say is really helping children identify at a young age different feelings and emotions, giving them the vocabulary to be able to identify their needs is huge. And honestly, for older children as well, if it's
Mhm.
something that they're not used to. So that would be a great starting place is just start identifying feelings and emotions, and then asking yourself, what is it that I need, or guiding them to ask themselves, what is it that I'm needing in this moment? Do I need a boundary? Do I need rest, hungry, whatever it is? And being okay with meeting your needs, and not feeling bad for it, which a lot of us adults feel bad
And
for.
sometimes children just need connection, right? They
Connection,
just
yep.
need to be held in that container
Yes.
of connection. And sometimes they need to have a boundary put around them. They need some containment. And containment and connection are two needs that a child has that they can't often identify.
Yes.
That we are the ones who would need to help them identify what they need.
Absolutely.
Um, so that's another keen area that is often overlooked by us is,
Mhm.
when we're checking in, what does the child need? Sometimes we forget that those are two needs that they have that would often help them.
Absolutely. I love that.
Mm.
So, just to recap for this episode, a confident children is able to identify their needs. And four things that we talked about is one, the parent also has to be able to identify their needs and cultivate the environment that models what it looks like to identify their needs. Whether your child, and then the second thing is whether your child is at a very young age or even a teenager, or even an adult, to start instilling this process of being able to identify the needs, really help them start naming the feelings and the emotions that they're feeling, so that they can then ask themselves, what is it that I need? Is it a boundary? Am I hungry? Do I need rest? And then the third thing is consistency. So, really guiding your child down this path to identify their needs and helping them become aware and recognize. And then repetition creates the habit. And then number four, just being okay and not taking it personal when your child expresses their needs to you, the parent, and letting them you know, take care of themselves without you taking it personal. And yeah, Meg, is there anything else that you want to add before we close?
The only thing I was thinking is we don't know ourselves, like you're saying
Yeah.
about the need that we have. So oftentimes I actually have a list of words that describe needs.
Oh, wow.
And I will tell you that I have pulled that list out because, there's some words that we all know, anger and frustration and, things like anxious or sad.
Yeah.
But there are nuances that I have learned on different feelings that I have and different needs that I have and ways to describe them that I would love to share with anybody because has been so helpful to me, and it will help you to describe to your child some of the more unfamiliar words that we can help really pinpoint and describe what it is that they're feeling.
That would be amazing. If you could give me a link, I'll put it in the show notes so people can click on that and reference it.
Thank you, Ashley. Okay, that sounds great. And thank you so much again for having me.
Absolutely. Bye, guys.
Bye.
I am literally so excited that you took the time to hang out with me in this space, and I would absolutely love to connect with you more. You can find me over on Instagram at ashleykan.co. That's ASHLEYKAHN.co, or visit me on my website at ashleykan.co. If this episode spoke to your soul and you know some mama friends that could use it, screenshot this episode, tag us on Instagram, and share it with everyone who needs it. Love what you heard? It would absolutely mean the world to me if you left a 5-star review. Okay, mama, this is just the beginning.